Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dee's Wellness Wednesday. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much. I do appreciate you being here. Now, my goal for doing these Wellness Wednesdays is to help to provide you with information that will further support your health journey. So different things I talk about, even though I am a women's hormone specialist, there are different topics that play into your hormone. So all of this information that I provide from week to week should help you to further your wellness journey. Now today I am going to be talking about fasting. I know that many of you may have heard about fasting along the way. It has become quite controversial in the nutrition world. Sometimes there are many different beliefs behind fasting, but today our topic is fasting. Is it safe or is it healthy? I'm sure you've heard that question and pondered it maybe yourself. So understanding a little bit more about what happens when you fast, and some of the benefits and some of the downsides of fasting. Now, because of the information that's involved, I am doing this in two parts. So today I'm going to cover part of the fasting session, and then next week I'm going to cover the second piece. So this is a first in a two-part series on fasting. All right, so we're ready to go. Okay, so I am Dion. For those of you who don't know me, I am the owner and founder of Dion's Wellness Wagon, where I support menopausal women who are struggling with unexplained weight gain, cravings, lack of energy, hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, bloating, all the symptoms that come with being either perimenopause or menopausal, and they are plenty. So let's get into it so we can wrap this up, and I'll be able to teach you something new tonight. All right, so let's just see. So first of all, I want to talk about a couple of misconceptions that I have heard, and you could be free to let me know in the chats if you've heard any misconceptions at all with regards to fasting. So a couple of them I want to talk about. So the first one is we must be eating 2 to 3 hours, so fasting really can't work. Now, that's what we've been told, that's what we've been taught, that we should be eating small meals. And you know, I'm not going to get into what's right and what's not right, but what I want to say is that our bodies adapt. Our bodies have adapted over centuries. We have been used to eating 2 to 3 hours at a time. And so our bodies adapted to that. Our bodies become so used to having glucose filled between 2 and 3 hours. And we know what happens when we don't eat within a regular time, right? And we're going to get into that a little bit more. The next thing is, if I don't eat, I get dizzy, I get lightheaded, I got stomach cramps. All true. We all experience that. But the misconception is that it'll never go away, and so I have to eat each time. I can't do this fasting thing. The truth is, it does go away. As soon as your body gets adjusted to that state, it moves into the new real pattern, right? So it's not a forever state. You're not always going to have a headache, lightheaded, dizzy. So if you're serious about fasting, and when we talk about some of the health benefits and talk about it a little bit more, maybe you'll have a little more understanding around the whole concept of fasting, why it's important, and really what does it do. So if you can get past the dizziness and the lightheadedness for a short period of time, for a very short period of time, then your body will go right along and it adjusts with you once you can get past that. It's almost like detoxing. If anyone has ever participated in a detox program, I know if any of my detox ladies are out there, which we're wrapping up our 10-day detox today. Congratulations, ladies, all those who participated in that. You will understand your body is not used to eating a certain way, and when it's asking for certain things, and if you don't give what it's used to, it does that in an uncomfortable way. And at the same time, when you're detoxing, you're also removing toxins, so that also doesn't happen in a comfortable way. Now, let's just talk about, like, so what is fasting really? Just on a broad spectrum, what is fasting? So fasting is a period of no food, right? And during fasting, we're not trying to eat less. We're trying to eat less often, because we're still eating. We're just eating less often and a different eating pattern. Fasting is also considered a strategy that we can use to improve our health. A strategy that we can use to improve our health. Now, human beings have been fasting in different ways since ancient times. This is nothing new. Our ancestors used fasting as a survival mechanism because there were times when they didn't have food. And there were times when there was an abundance of food, and so they ate during those times. And those times where food was not available, they fasted. Remember, they didn't have refrigerators, they didn't have supermarket, they didn't have adequate storage. So it was very difficult for them to be able to store foods for times when food was not abundantly available to them. And today, many religions use fasting for many religious or spiritual reasons. There's a fasting component that's attached. And I know the church I used to go to, it used to be in January, that they would have a big fast during January. And you know, people could eat certain things, but for the most part, it was considered sacred and a sacrifice for whatever religion or religious reasons that you're doing that for. And the other thing is that fasting should be viewed as a preventative measure, not a treatment. It should be something that you do in order to be healthy or trying to be healthy. It should not be something you're doing as a way of treating some type of diseases that might be in your body. Feel free to comment. Any comments you have or anyone have questions, please drop them in. I can always do that. Now, what is happening in your body when you're fasting, when you're not eating? I mean, we might not have thought about that, but it's a very important, well, it's really, that's where all the benefit comes in. What is happening during those periods when we're not eating? So when you're not eating, this one blew my mind when I was doing my research for this. When you don't eat, right? When your body doesn't have new foods coming in that it can use as energy, what it does, it goes right for the bad cells that are in your body. It goes for them and it uses them first. As they would say, it eats those first because it's looking for food, it's looking for energy. It eats the bad cells first, which is a good thing, right? It doesn't eat the good cells, because what happens is if those bad cells remain in your body, a lot of times these bad cells go rogue. They turn into cancers, tumors, other diseases. So you want to be able to get the bad cells out of your body, and your body regenerates itself. So a lot of times it does happen, but fasting helps to expedite that process. And also when you're fasting, your body goes into fat burning mode. I'll repeat that one more time. When you're fasting, your body eats the bad cells first that you don't want. That's a good thing. And the next thing that it does, it goes into fat burning mode. Ladies, I know you love to hear that, right? Because that's where the weight loss comes in, into fat burning mode. And the body's really recycling the tissues when it doesn't have food. Look, this amazing machine that we have here is a survival machine. It can survive. You leave it alone for a while, it will figure out how to feed itself, how to nourish itself, and really to provide the energy that you need. It really will. Also, your immune cells are regenerated. The old ones are depleted during this process, and the new ones are regenerated, which is what we want, right? We want new cells to be generated, especially when it comes to our immunity, because that's really what keeps us healthy. Was there any surprises there to anyone watching? Any surprises in terms of what happens when you're fasting. I certainly didn't know all of that, and always knew it was healthy for you, and it gives your digestive system a chance to rest, because people don't realize how much energy it takes your body to chew the food, digest it, assimilate it, and move it to your cells, to your different parts of your body for energy. It takes an enormous amount of energy, and that's why you always probably heard that you want to eat anywhere from 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, because you don't want your body to be busy digesting and breaking down foods instead of resting. So the digestive process is huge for your body and takes a lot of energy. If you think about when you eat a huge meal and you get very sluggish, and well, that's because your body is busy trying to break down everything that you just fed it. So it does take a long time. Now, going into a few of the different types of fast that's out there, and I'm not going to go into too many. There are more. I just picked a few, and I want to focus on one to just get a little bit into one. Now, there's the water fast. I know many people might have heard about that. Dry fast, broth fast, and intermittent fast. Now, I want to talk about intermittent fast for a minute, because that might be the one that most people are familiar with. Intermittent fast, it's the most popular, I would say. So it's a form of eating pattern. It's not a diet per se. It's a pattern in which you eat. There are periods when you are fasting and periods when you're eating. Usually for intermittent fasting, it's more about when you eat. Now, in terms of what you eat, of course, the quality of your food is going to be important. Always want to be having whole food, nutritious food. Having junk in between will not serve you. That probably will really be a disadvantage for you if you do that. Now, here are 3 options that I want to leave you with in terms of practicing intermittent fasting, that one of which you might be interested in. So there's a 16/8 method, and this is also called the lean gains method, and it involves you skipping breakfast and restricting your daily eating to 8 hours. So 8 hours spread out. So for example, between 1 to 9, so every 8 hours you would be eating, right? And then for 16 hours in between, you fast. And most people find this option to be the simplest and the most easy to adopt. Personally, this is the one that I pretty much practice, which is, it's not even like anything now. It's just my body has gotten so used to I'm not a breakfast person to begin with, so it makes it easy for me. And I am between 13 to 16 hours in between for the most part. That I find the most easiest for me. And then there's the eat and stop method, which involves fasting for 24 hours, once or twice a week. For example, not eating from dinner one day till dinner the next day. Right? So I'll say that again. So this is the eat and stop involve fasting for 24 hours, once or twice a week. For example, not eating from dinner one day till dinner the next day. And then the last one I want to talk about is the 5-2 diet, where you consume 500 to 600 calories on 2 non-consecutive days. So it would be like maybe Monday and Wednesday, right? And then you eat normal for another 5 days during the week. Good? So those are the 3 options that you can choose from if you do decide to do one of these, if you wanted to try a fasting. And this is great from women's hormones, by the way. It really helps to get your hormones in balance, because the body's doing all this repairing during periods that you're not fasting. And then in our next session next week, I'm going to focus more on some of the benefits and the downsides involved in fasting. So in the meantime, as usual, I do have 30-minute free consultation for anyone who wants to take advantage of that. If you're concerned about your health, any menopausal issue, it's a breakthrough session to talk about what is going on with your health, what are your goals, what are you trying to accomplish. I do have a few spots in, I will put all the links in under this particular video. And so if you're interested in that, I will also include my free ebook. That's 3 proven ways to naturally alleviate perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms. That'll be there as well. And also my schedule for my calendar if you need to make an appointment with me. All right, so until next week when we'll talk more about fasting and we'll go into the benefits and some of the downsides to fasting. If you do have any question, as always, feel free to drop a comment. And when you watch this video, please don't forget to like this video, and you can follow up with questions if you do have and I'm on to address whatever you have. Until next week, everybody have a good night. Bye-bye.